This is Matt from MGMT Boston. I am with the other Matt, co-founder and CEO of Herald, here to talk about what's going on in their business, what they're looking forward to in the second half of the year, and what they've learned building this company. So Matt, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
First and foremost, tell us what Herald is. What are you and your team building?
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me, and I'm super excited to share. So we are an AI-powered tool for brokers in the insurance industry to sell more, specifically commercial insurance, without having to change the way they work.
Yeah.
And that's actually, that sentence I just said to you is relatively new for us. We've been around now about 3.5 years. And for the first 3.5 years of Herald, I would have told you we are infrastructure for commercial insurance. We spent a lot of time and a lot of energy building a very unique, missing piece of technology in this space, which was a connectivity layer to connect the distributors of insurance policies. So this is insurance that businesses would purchase.
Right.
Cyber insurance, management liability insurance, things like that. So to connect them to insurance carriers. Because it'll shock you to hear, insurance is a pretty old industry. That layer is missing. A lot of stuff is just email and fax in the old-fashioned way. And what is really cool is that once we built this connectivity layer and infrastructure, with the advent of Gen AI, we realized, wow, the thing that can be built on top of this infrastructure that the industry really needs is now here. And so we are actually like right now bursting out of our infrastructure shell, turning into a company that's going to the people who've been using our APIs for a long time and saying, hey, we can deliver you something that's never existed in this industry before, the ability to, using your email, having AI agents in your inbox, in the places that you work, reading the data you have, seamlessly funnel that into an infrastructure that we've built that you can't find anywhere else and transform the way you work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, you raised a Series A. You also went through a recent acquisition. What are some of the key milestones from the year and even looking to the second half of the year that you're really excited about?
Yeah. So we raised the Series A last year, and that was with the premise of, okay, how do we expand this infrastructure and expand connectivity in the industry overall? Right. And we started working with a company called Babbix to build the AI layer on top of that. And pretty quickly, on both sides, we realized, oh, wow, it's really compelling what we can actually do in the industry with putting on together. We looked at each other and said, this just makes sense to do together. Yeah. And so we acquired Babbix, brought that team on board, like I said, fairly recently. And so looking to the next half of the year, also we'll continue to lay down the tracks and expand the connectivity that we've always been a leader in the market. But the milestones we're looking towards now are saying, okay, how do we bring to life the pitch to brokers and say, hey, you've been using technology for a long time, but you've never had it. And now that thing really can be built. The starting point for that, super basic, is that 95% of brokers' day is spent in their email inbox. Right. That's where they do their work. And so putting AI capabilities in their inbox as the on-ramp into this connectivity, and so saying, okay, now you can work right out of the same place you've ever worked, but get the promises of technology that you've been looking for years of investment. It's cool for us because we're like going back to product market fit. You know, it's like, hey, we're reinventing or we're building a new product, we're launching a new line, so we're back in that motion, which, you know, as a founder, I love. It brings me a lot of energy. We'll be saying, you know, having some of those early days conversations, how do we get the first users, 10 users, 100 users? How do we get the volume going through? Okay, let's find out how to, you know, sell this now. What does go-to-market look like? That, all answering all those questions on the path to our Series B sometime next year is the plan for the next several months. Amazing.
Yes, another era of reinvention at Herald. So what have you learned building this company, especially now reinvention period, that you would look back on, that you'd pass back to other up-and-coming operators, founders, et cetera, in the community?
Yeah, everyone when you went to found the business tells you, hey, you know, it's hard being a founder. And you kind of roll your eyes a little bit. It is hard. There have been a lot of lessons learned, a lot of scar tissue, and so the simplest and most concise advice I can give people is surround yourself with the best people you can possibly find and make sure that they are challenging you and demanding the most out of you and setting the bar high every day, every minute, every hour, and not compromising on that. And I think everything else flows when you get that. And when I think back at Herald, I'm like, when I feel like we've been doing that, things are firing on all cylinders. And when things aren't working, it's because something there is broken. So that's what I'd pass on to anyone who's kicking off a journey like this.
Very strong advice. And last but not least, like, how can we help Herald here in Boston and beyond? How can we help you all grow?
So first and foremost, if you are excited about our mission or the space, hit me up on LinkedIn. If you know or are a member of the insurance industry or commercial insurance carrier or broker who's excited about growing your book of business and seeing how we can help you, again, reach out on LinkedIn. And then I think one of the great things about building a business in Boston has been the community really looks out for each other, has been super supportive. Continue to look forward to see it at your events, at events in the area, and to keep giving me the guidance we got along the way. So, yeah.
Perfect. This is Matt from Herald, Matt from MGMT Boston, this episode of Lantern. Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.